3 different concepts. This is how we do it, okay? So you know that we have for our logo, we have semicircles. The first semicircle stands for confidence, okay? Okay, so this is our first few semicircles. So these are traits like personal power, personal energy, growth mindset, the ability to allow yourself to do, to make mistakes, navigating thoughts and feelings. So the primary goal is to help you build grounded confidence in yourself, despite the skills you have or your lack of skills. Okay, so that you're not measuring your confidence on how much you know. Because if that was if our confidence was built on how much we know, then all of us that have taken tons of trainings should be confident, right? But many teachers are not. I've had many conversations with teachers who they are highly educated, but admit that they still don't have confidence in what they're doing. So what happens is, and this is a real scenario, in a class, I had a teacher who was called out by a client telling the teacher that what she was doing was wrong and that nobody else should be doing it, okay? And because this teacher didn't believe in herself, it really flustered her, and she had a hard time. Basically what happened is she got defensive, and then of course you feel ashamed at the end.
Yes.
So in that situation, I think the scenario, and I talked to her about this, and we worked on this afterwards, it's building those boundaries in the beginning.
And it was really wrong. What she was doing was really wrong. I mean, the client was right. No,
the client was not right. Good question.
Okay.
Good question. Yeah, I think it was bridging. They were doing bridging on the mat bridging, which is totally safe. But what that client, again, it's not the client's fault either. It's the medical system, which we're going to see later, is causing this fear. It's a fear of doing any kind of movement. So that's one of the reasons why we focus on confidence. So the next element is competence. Okay, so we have our next few here. All right, so competence is knowing the exercises, okay? It's creating variations, it's solving problems, educating clients, understanding and teaching anatomy is just a few of the traits. Okay, so while confidence is a must, what we want to make sure of is that it's not a fake it till you make it, because we can't fake. You don't want to fake helping a client who has IVF or is going through in vitro fertilization. You don't want to fake knowing how to work with a client who has prolapse or is at risk for diastasis recti. So we have to build, obviously, the skills, okay? And that's what most trainings do. This is what you're going to see, right? In most trainings is the competence piece. Okay, and then the third concept is contribution. Okay, so this is the contribution you're making, not only to your clients, but to society in general. So this has to do with sharing your knowledge, feeling comfortable sharing your knowledge. This is doing, whether it's a paid position or volunteering your time. This is marketing. This is client retention. This is navigating tough conversations. So you can't really contribute fully if you're not comfortable having difficult conversations, building boundaries. For example, one of them that I think, well, in America, I think it's getting better, but talking about, quote, your private parts, the pelvic floor. That is I think among the younger generation, it's much easier, but I mean, you know, I grew up like you don't talk about that stuff. So you
Me
have
too.
that yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you have a situation where women have never been talked to about their pelvic floor. And they have all these problems. I heard a story from a student whose grandma was like 93. The grandma thought that the baby came out of the belly button. That's how like that is how uneducated I mean, it was back then, like back in what it would have been the 30s or 40s, 1930s or 40s, like that. So, I mean, we've come a long way, but there's still that like little bit of like, oh, this is like a topic that's taboo, or we shouldn't be
Yeah.
talking about it. And this is literally where the baby starts and where the baby comes out. So we've got to know what's going on with it, right? So anyway, so that's the contribution piece. And then with all of these together, the way that we practice those is through being what we call impactor ways of being. Okay, so we have the acronym impactor. So this is what students in the Pregnancy Pilates Impact Academy, that they are practicing every day. And the first one is integrity. Okay, so that's integrity with yourself, keeping your word to yourself. There's research that shows when we keep our word to ourselves, when we do what we say we're going to do, when we write in the calendar that we're going to do Pilates or go on a walk or whatever it is, when we keep our word to ourselves, our productivity goes up 300% because we learn to trust ourselves. But it's also then obviously having integrity for our clients. And I mean, you know, most people do have integrity, like Pilates teachers, you know, just having integrity in the sense of that you're being honest with them, those types of things. The next one is motivation. Okay, this is your motivation. Like, what are you doing? Are you just teaching exercises to pre and postnatal women, or are you actually giving sessions that are changing their lives? And again, this falls over to your clients' motivation as well. If you're motivated, your clients are going to be motivated by your energy. The next one is patience. Okay, so that's patience again with yourself. If you make a mistake, if you don't know something, having patience with yourself. And then of course that folds over to your clients. Having awareness. So this one is big with what I think about is like just having awareness of how you are teaching. So the language you're using, body language, these types of things. And then teaching your clients to have awareness in the studio. And then courage. So this is having the tough conversations, having the courage to have those tough conversations, for example. And then for your clients, having those clients have the courage to, for example, talk to their doctor about a situation, maybe that instead of just going along with a procedure or something that they don't feel in their heart is okay, that they have the courage to have those conversations with their doctors. All right, trust. Again, trust in self, and obviously your clients have to trust you as the teacher. Empathy. empathy for yourself in what you are doing. If you make a mistake, you have empathy, and of course, having empathy for your clients. And then the last and very important one is resilience. And that is being able to come back from situations that are embarrassing. For example, the teacher who had the client call her out in class, like having the resilience to go back and say, no, I can get through this. I can become better. I think it's a big, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard, you know, like people will tell you like, people don't change. People are always the same. People can't change. And I think that's a horrible lie. I think that people definitely can change if they want to. And resilience is a big part of that. And then obviously it's the resilience of your clients, how you can help them to feel not obviously physically and mentally, but out in their life, having resilience to come back from issues. So those are the ways of being, and all of them go from you to your clients. And that's why they're important.